Yeah. Good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am. We welcome you on behalf of Mantavya. So I'll just give a brief introduction about both of you, and then we'll start soon. So Arnab sir is a big data engineer by day and poet by night. In a world of everything digital, he feels stuck being an analog antique trying to fit in. Although not much of a talker, yet hand him a piece of paper and he shall write an impromptu poem or any given prompt. One of the main reasons he writes is to vent out the troubled thoughts and dreaming musings which otherwise make his mind a messy place. Hailing from the land of Mishti Doi and Yellow Taxi, he takes pride in being a Bengali and asserting his ethnicity wherever he goes. But that doesn't stop him from accepting people for who they really are. Having observant eyes and overthinking brain is a boon and a curse too. He just lives by the day, figuring it all out. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now let's move to the Akhila ma'am. So Akhila Mohan CG is a corporate communication professional based in Chennai. She is the author of her debut poetry collection, Tamarind, sweet and sour poem about love, loss, longing, and life, published by Singapore-based publishing house Kitaab International. Her poem, short stories, essays, and articles have appeared in TYOS Review, FS Judgment, and YKA. She primarily likes writing on gender issues, human relations, and issues condemning taboo, stigma, and stereotype, and believes that writing can contribute to building a more just and sensitive society. She also has a YouTube channel, Akhila's Book Nook, and its social handle dedicated to literature and book. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thanks, Rashika.
So before wasting any time further, let's move to the questions. So, ma'am, we'll start with you first. So, what does poetry means to you, and how does it score over prose for you?
Like reading and writing poetry is an act of indulging myself in a state of absolute pleasure and bliss. It's kind of an escapism from my routine life, from my day-to-day, the day-to-day hustle and bustle of life. It's like breaking the monotony of life. So that's how I look at poetry. It's more like an addiction to me. I almost every day read poems. I write poems. It's a form of expression for me. It's where I find refuge from whatever we go through. So and moreover, it is a kind of a tool through which anybody can heal oneself. So poetry holds a very important and significant place in my life. And there was a time in my life, there was a very dark phase in my life when, I'm a survivor of domestic violence, and I lost my child because it was a stillborn child. And then I was, gripped by a debilitating disease. And that was the time when I, started writing poems, and definitely reading was always there. And this collection, Tamarind, is all about my journey of self-discovery, of, overcoming my pain. So I think poetry has helped me survive. It has helped me heal. And that's why it holds a very important part in my life. And regarding its, as compared to prose, I would say I think I like all forms of writing, short stories, non-fiction, fiction. But I think why I like poetry more is because of its lyricality, its literary value, its spontaneity, as Wordsworth has said, that it's an spontaneous overflow of emotions, poetry. And, there is no limit. Sky is the limit in poetry for the creative process. So that's what poetry means to me.
Thank you, ma'am. Arnab sir, would you like to say about this?
Yes. So poetry to me, I would say it's more or less my kind of therapy. Like I have my pretty share of my life going through some pretty struggling phase. Like I was I suffer from acute depression and anxiety, and for a long period of my time, I felt that going to therapy, going through psychiatrist, it didn't help much, because in India, I still feel that talking about mental health, it's a very big taboo. And even if you go to the generic or the general psychiatrist or the therapist, they will always jump onto the what to say, the diagnosis. They will jump onto to say what medicines will cure you, rather than hearing you out, rather than actually sitting with you through your issues, and going through the process of hearing you out. So there I felt that rather than going through the traditional approach, I felt that the first time that I started writing, I felt poetry actually helped me a lot, and that's kind of a system through which I went. It's a system through which I went out on all the dark necessities, on the light necessities of life, and how we as people actually see life, rather than just struggling through it, rather than just living it. I often write about the intricacies of life, the minutes of life. Uh, so yeah, that's how my journey into poetry came along. And going to the second part of the question, why I feel that poetry is step ahead of or is a little bit different than prose, is I feel that there's two different approaches between talking about poetry and talking about prose. And in order to sit with this analogy, I'll say that we can compare it as kind of a teaser and a movie. Like the prose is the movie, whereas the poetry is kind of a teaser, where in the teaser you can't show everything, but it depends upon the poet as to what to show, what not to show. There's a lot of hide and seek going on. There's a lot of show and tell. And but still, it depends upon the poet himself or herself, that if the teaser is bad or good. Because anyhow, when the person or when people will watch the movie, they are going to see the whole story starting from the start till the end. So they are going to get the clearer picture, but the teaser doesn't give that. But it again, it depends upon the talent of the poet, just how much to show, how much not to show, how much to leave it to the audience. And we all know, Marvel, it does a great stuff with teasers. So yeah, that's how I see this, the comparison between poetry and prose. Thank you.
It was great to hear that how the poetry help you guys as therapy, and I love the part like how you analog your poem with the teaser. Moving on to the next question. So the next question is: on any given day, do you prefer Keats and Tennyson or their Indian counterparts? So, ma'am, will you go about it?
Yeah. So, yeah, I feel geography or nationality doesn't have any role to play when it comes to creativity or art or artists. So it doesn't matter to me whether it's, it's written by an Indian counterpart or it's by West or any other part of the world. But having said that, Keats is one of my favorite poets because I'm a nature lover and I love reading nature poems. And in my book also, I have written a lot of nature poetry. And but talking about the Indian counterparts, I would say like some of the poets like Kamla Das, Jayant Mahapatra, Tenzin Zindo, who is a Tibetan poet who writes about exile. And then there is a very contemporary and young poet, Urvashi Bhaguna, who has written very on very subtle, themes as simple as sisterhood or, first love affair or very mundane topics she has taken up. So these are some of my favorite Indian counterparts, but it doesn't matter. Geography really doesn't matter when it comes to art or artists. I just love the diversity. We are so lucky to, have so much diversity and voices coming from different parts of the world.
Thank you, ma'am. So, what would you like to say?
Yeah, so I would definitely agree with to a certain extent with Akhila on this, that when it comes to poetry or creative writing, geography doesn't play substantial part in this. But again, coming back to the question, I do feel that I really connect well with the foreign poets, not in particular with John Keats. I much prefer Robert Frost or Charles Bukowski. But I do feel that there are very large number of underrated poets in India right now, which are who are on the rise. But again, talking about this, I also like to bring a point that nowadays I do feel that there's a lot of commercialization going on in this poetic culture, in this poetry industry, because I see that there are a lot of budding poets who start good. They start really good, the way of articulation is really well, the choices of the topics that they pick, those are really unique. But down the line I feel that they go go along the they follow the herd. They fall into that trap and just try to write on commercial topics, and which actually helps them for a bit. It helps them garner a lot of large following, a large number of mainstream readers who actually love to read about those topics. But I do feel that when it comes to Indian poets, there are two major diversification, or the two major separation between two types. Like one type of the poet who are kind of the elitists, they love writing about a strong structure. They love throwing it out that yes, they know a lot about in English literature. Their the strategies of the the theories that they use in their poems, those are really a little bit hard to crack for the normal reader, day-to-day reader. But again, on the other side, I do see a lot of poets who over commercialize their topics, who over commercialize their poems in order to just cater to the social media crowd, in order to fetch more likes onto their posts, rather than actually uh, trying to invest more on their poems. So talking about that, concluding on it, I would say that the foreign poets, they don't really much care about it. They don't really much care about whether people are going to read their poems or not. It's just they write, and they have this need to write. They have this need to vent out. And that's something which I really feel it's really special and commendable about them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moving to the next part. So it's a small request from all of us. So it's just that, will you be so kind to recite some of your own work for us?
Yeah, definitely.
You can give it a try.
Pleasure.
You could start, Akhila.
Okay, so this poem is from my book again, Tamarind. This is the title of the poem is Amma, and it's a dedication to all the mothers in the world. So I'll just start it. So in between your cracked hills, a path awaited you to tread, a choice beckoning you to be free. You once lifted your feet to cross the Dehlies, but then chose to pull it back. And when you did, you killed yourself, except a part within, the part of the mother, our Amma. While our fingers clung to the hole of your torn sari, it seemed all fun and play, and we drew a childish pleasure, pulling and tearing it further, until we realized that the hole was not in your sari, but your soul, which you let us tear apart to give us a life, a debt that we can never repay. That's all.
Thank you, ma'am. I just got, recollected all the thoughts, whatever you decide, no, it came to my mind.
Yeah.
Thank you. Arnab, sir?
Yeah, so I'm gonna read one of the poems from my last published book. It's The Grapes Are Sour. The name of the poem is Mixtape. So it's about the kind of love that I think we all have gone through at least once in our lives. And when I'm talking to you MBA peeps, I'm definitely sure that everyone has that one particular love, which is really toxic, which is really not good for your life, but still you feel that need and you feel that urge to give into it. And like, even though it at the end of the day it's harmful to you, it's eating you up, but still you feel that you want that love and you want to have it for life. So it goes like this. You gave me memories until you became one. I chased them then, I escaped them now through these woods of unforgiving desires. Lost on you, I'm trying to find my ways out of cutscenes of us kissing wet and slow under the blanket of December rains, making amends through our highs and our lows. Playing a cassette of bittersweet mistakes, I see flashes of your skin running onto my dark crevices. And I wonder which is more wrong, to live a love which is gone or to kill one which was never born. Thank you.
Rashika, you're on mute. Yeah, so sorry. Was speechless, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so like keeping the time. So I would like you to thank both of you on behalf of Mantavya. It was really nice hearing from you. Thank you for such an insightful session. Conversation was very delightful. I enjoyed every minute of the session and looking forward to see you again. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Arnab sir and Akhila ma'am. Both of your stories were really inspiring, and the poems were simply terrific. So I have become a fan of the both of you, and especially Akhila ma'am. I really like your poetry and the theme behind it. So I think I'm really gonna buy the books of both of you. So really glad that you are both of you are here. So we hope that you stay for the rest of the event and take something from the rest of the panels too. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, Vibhanshu.
Thank you. Thank you.